split between the Conservatives and the Brexit Party. He's not honest when he says he does. Why did he remove the whip from the Conservative MPs, which is written weep? Why remove the weep from the Conservative MPs? John says, when I did something unlawful, I was sentenced and got a criminal record. So should Boris Johnson. Anja on Facebook says, I don't understand why the MPs are causing all this. Why can't they let Boris Johnson get on with it instead of hindering him? Why are the MPs against the voters? What is the point in voting if our views don't matter? The more trouble the MPs are causing for Boris Johnson, it makes it harder for him to concentrate on agreeing a Brexit deal. Keep going, Boris. The country is behind you, even if your party and some MPs are against you. Right, Ao Edicina is a computer programmer from Hackney in London, and you might recognise him from the TV show Hunted. Hello.
Hi.
You won it, didn't you?
Champion.
Yes.
Yeah.
My kids love that programme. He voted to leave, but has since changed his mind and is now campaigning for Remain. John James is a racehorse breeder and a Conservative member from Ely in Cambridgeshire who voted for the Brexit Party in the European elections and says the judges are biased. Hello to you, good morning. Journalism student Finvola Dunphy is a Labour member from Liverpool who's delighted with the Supreme Court ruling. And furniture manufacturer Rachel Waring is a Conservative Party member from Norfolk who thinks the general election is the only way to solve this stalemate. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming on the programme. OK, I want you to reflect on the last 24 hours and how you're feeling about it as a voter.
Me personally, I'm quite relieved that the judges have come to this decision.
Why?
Simply because I think that if they didn't come to this decision, it would mean that a future Prime Minister could basically shut down Parliament for as long as he wants.
John James, how do you respond to that?
Very frustrated. Democracy is democracy, and it's just been demolished by members of Parliament.
What about the ruling of the judges?
I don't think it should have gone to judges in the first place. There's parliamentary law and common law.
But as it did, what do you make of the ruling?
Not very happy about it. As I said, I think there's 9 judges who were Remainers and ECJ judges as well. So.
Are you suggesting they weren't independent?
You have to think.
No, seriously,
there's a question. That? Well, I honestly, I mean, if you went to court and you had to have a jury, you could say, look, I don't want him on the jury because I know him for some reason, or he's a Labour man and he doesn't like Conservatives. You could wean out, so you get 12 fair-minded people on the jury. Boris Johnson.
And if the ruling had gone the other way, would you be today questioning the independence of those judges?
Probably not.
And when the High Court ruled that, they ruled with the government, was you saying that they were, not independent? You saying that they were influenced? Or
I'd be dubious.
But I think that our judiciary is actually one of the most independent, judiciaries in the whole world.
Yes.
And I think, to start saying that they're basically somehow, taking one side or another because of their own political views is actually a very dangerous thing. I think it's very dangerous for us to be going down that route. And I think even, government ministers that are even insinuating the fact that the judges are not independent, I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree. I think this notion that Farage and Jacob Rees-Mogg are coming out with, that this is some sort of political coup, I think it's utterly absurd.
Well, they were also criticised by their own Conservative colleagues a little earlier in the programme for that language.
But I mean, look, if we start questioning the integrity of the Supreme Justices in this country, there were 11 Supreme Justices. They are an independent body who are there to sort of hold people to account, hold politicians to account, just like the media. And I think before Farage and Jacob Rees-Mogg start questioning their integrity, I think they need to look at their own. That's my view.
By the way, who told you that 9 of those judges will Remain?
Well, I read it in the press. Now, do you believe everything you read in the press?
Me?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
I don't.
No.
I don't think it matters if they're Remainers or Leavers. I think that actually doesn't make any difference. At the end of the day, everybody standing here knows why Boris Johnson prorogued Parliament. It was because of Brexit. That was the reason. We know, the public know, MPs know, and for people to basically, stand up and defend Boris Johnson, I think we've got to a really, disgusting situation with this country where basically the Prime Minister can lie, can basically mislead Parliament, can drag the Queen into doing something that's essentially unlawful, and we all just sit there and just say, throw our hands up in the air and just say it's Boris. I personally think that he should resign.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's unforgivable.
Let's ask a Conservative Party member, Rachel Waring. Do you want to see Boris Johnson resign?
No, I don't want to see him resign. I don't think he dragged the Queen to doing anything. I think that this is the first time this question has been brought to court. Lots of Prime Ministers have done prorogation in the past, and this is a continual delay. We have to bring it to a close. It has to happen. I'm confident that Boris Johnson and his team are trying harder than anybody else to date to try and make it happen. I accept.
Do you want a deal?
I would like a deal, but I am quite prepared for no deal.
Right.
There is nothing in that yellow hammer paper at all that is scary.
Well, I voted for
People
leave,
don't
and
like
I wasn't
change.
told. I was voting for leave.
People
Hang on a minute. I'm just sorry. I'm so
People
sorry.
don't like
I'm gonna.
change, and this is
Okay.
what this is all about.
I think if you relied
And
on particular medicines, you might find some of that yellow hammer document worrying.
I do not
if
believe
you were
that you
Rose
can't
Haulier,
get the medicines in. Okay, you
what-
can.
okay.
You can get medicines in advance so that you've got extra in stock. What do you think business are doing
Matt
with their stock?
Hancock is the health secretary, right? So he
Yes.
controls health as far as I know. And what people have actually asked him is, why can't he stand up and say no one will die as a result of a no-deal Brexit? He cannot stand up and say that. My daughter is epileptic, okay?
Yes.
At one point, she was having 30 fits a day, okay? Now, if she was suddenly, if her medication was cut for whatever reason, yeah, she could be in very big trouble. She's a 5-year-old child. Can Matt Hancock come and tell me directly and say they will be 100% cast stone guarantee
Why do you
your
think
daughter's
Detox
supplies
doesn't put
will not be...
100% kills germs on their spray?
So essentially, you're
Nobody is
admitting.
going to say.
So essentially, you're admitting that there is a possibility.
I'm admitting that nobody is
however
gonna be
small,
prepared to make
that I
that
will not.
statement.
That my daughter will not be able to get her medication due to Brexit. Why can't he say due to Brexit? Everyone will get their medication.
I had to
It's
get
quite
a
simple. Why
brand
can't he do
new
that?
design of chair produced in 48 hours
I'm
in
not talking
China and
about
air
chairs.
freighted
We're
in
not talking
for a
about chairs. We're
deadline of
talking about life-saving
Well, I'm saying-
medication.
Talking about
that will,
designer chair, and
we're
this
talking
one's
about
talking about-
life-saving
That's
Life-saving
designing and
medication.
producing. All he's talking about is shipment. The shipment is the easy bit. That it,
I want
So
to
why
ask.
can't
I want to
why
ask.
can't he stand up and say that?
I want to
okay,
ask about the
everyone
Labour
will get their
Party.
medication? Why can't he say that?
I want to ask about the Labour
What
Party.
about- I can't answer
Hang on a minute.
that.
Are you disappointed that the Labour Party is not going to be calling for a vote of no confidence in Jeremy Corbyn for the foreseeable? Sorry, not in Jeremy Corbyn. I beg your pardon. In Boris Johnson for the
Yeah,
foreseeable.
no, I'm not disappointed. I think they know what they're doing. I think
What
the
do you think
Labour
they are
Party-
doing?
Well, I think they're going to wait until the 31st of October to see if we can get an extension, to see if we can stop the possibility of a no deal going ahead, which will be the
Terrible business.
worst case scenario for certainly people in the north of this country who feel completely isolated and completely sort of rejected by this Westminster-centric government. I can tell you the people of Liverpool are absolutely disheartened. They are outraged at the Prime Minister's response to that judicial decision that was made yesterday.
Well, he said he didn't agree with it, but he would abide by it. What's
He's
the outrage?
not going to apologise. There's no plans of resignation, and he wants to there's talks of him wanting to prorogue again. Which again, I mean, how many times is he going to try and evade, and run away from scrutiny and accountability?
Okay. What do you want Boris Johnson to do now, Mr. James?
I'd like to leave on the 31st. I'm not worried about a no deal. But at the end of the day, if he has to go back and say, look, swallow humble pie, as it were, and ask for an extension for a month, have a general election, people then will know what they're voting for. If you're going to vote Conservative, you know that we're going to leave, whatever.
complete nonsense.
And if you vote Lib Dem, you know you're not going to get opportunity. You're just going to stay, and that is it. If you vote for Labour, you don't know whether you're in or out.
This is
Now,
complete
my
nonsense.
family background is from Merseyside, and I spoke to my family last night. Every one of them said the same thing. We're sick and fed up. We just want to leave, get it done, and let the country get back on.
Okay,
That's
I'm
not
going
what
to
I've
pause it there.
heard.
I'm going to pause it there.
If we're going to leave, why don't we have a second referendum? Because at the end of the day, if we say we're
we haven't
going
got time to go over the second referendum.
yeah, but if we're going to say we're going to vote for a general election will solve nothing. What if we end up with a hung parliament?
Well,
People will be saying that we
a
voted for
second
this, we voted for that.
referendum
Now, if we have a second referendum with
no
an
different from the
actual,
first.
no, of course it will be because
Why?
because the leave option will be defined and will be exactly what it is. If the country still want to leave, they can vote for it. I'm not saying we should stop, so then they can vote for it. You should be back in the second referendum if that's what you believe. Because at the end of the day,
My country is a democratic country, and
Well,
I
if
am
you-
very
let us-
proud of my country.
you cannot
Let us
undermine
speak.
democracy with
Let us
When
more
I have
democracy.
seen previous countries have to have their referendum rerun. I thought that was appalling
This is not a
historically.
rerun.
And now I am watching my country contemplating a second referendum. It is embarrassing.
Okay.
It is not what I thought my country was.
This is
That's
not a
enough.
rerun
That's
of
enough.
the
We were lied
referendum.
to.
Ladies
we
and
were
gents,
lied to.
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you.
Victoria.
Thank you for conversing with each other. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh.
Much appreciated. Now, the PM no longer has a majority in Parliament.